Alright, now that we got the nails bent, we're ready to wire. What you're going to need is a small rubber band, a type of wire that you can use to wrap around the cross, a pair of wire cutters, and the pliers that we used before. Now the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take a top and a bottom, and you're going to line them up so that they make half of a cross.
Go.
Like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then we've got our two nails held the exact same way. You take your pliers, and you might have to do this a couple of times, but you need to adjust the pliers so that they can fit over the clamp, so that when you line them up, you have a nice straight edge on the cross, like that. Got two evenly matched. Alright? And then you take your wire, and you have to kind of estimate about how much you need. Usually if you make a shape about this big, semicircle, then that's about the amount of wire you would use, but it's always good to use just a little bit extra in case you miscalculate it. Cut it with the wire cutters, and this is going to be the first part of your cross. Now what you do first is you take it and put the ends together and bend it down so that it creates a V. Then you're going to take the V and slip it under the top, and depending on if you're left-handed or right-handed or which way you want to go, you take the first part and you wrap it around the nail. You might need to use your fingernail or something to push it up or to just adjust it, but you take the wire and you just turn the pliers till it wraps around the nail, and you try to get on there pretty tight so that when you take it off of the pliers, it will still stay kind of clamped, and so it won't fall apart. Alright, now that you've got your cross, I always would just do a couple extra loops afterwards, just to make sure it's nice and tight on there. But this is your cross. You take the next two, and in the exact same way, clamp them together. And once again, you might have to adjust it so that it works. Because you want to get it as even as possible, or the cross would end up a bit lopsided and it'd look kind of funny. There we go. Alright, there we go. And then you take your cross and put it together, and hold it in the center. How can I move this? So that you've got the two ends together, and okay, there we go. So you got your two ends together. Then you take your little rubber band and you wrap it around the bottom of the cross so that you want to get the bottoms as even as possible so that it looks right. You take your wire and you make an X over it. Like, see, you're gonna end up making an X over the cross to make sure that you have it tilted right. But first you just take it and wrap it around, and then start to wrap it around the second half of the cross so that it fits together. Alright, now that you have this part of the cross, keep it clamped so that it'll help it give it extra support. Then what you do is you take your wire again and measure out about the same amount, because now we're going to do the top and the bottom. So you take your wire. This time though, you want to half it, probably about a third or a fourth of the way, depending on how much you want to use. So, because I mean, depending on how big you made your top, the wire may be different. But then what you do is you take it so that it creates an X over the other one, so that you have an X shape. And you take your wire and starting, just wrap it around the top so that it looks done. Alright, you have it wrapped around the top, and you just take the bottom and doing the same thing as before, just wrap it around the bottom of the cross. Now this takes a while. Alright, then when you get to the rubber band, because now that you've wrapped it, you don't need the rubber band anymore. So you just take the wire cutters, and taking extreme caution not to cut the wire, because that is bad and you have to start over with parts of the wire. Take it and just cut away your rubber band and continue wrapping the wire. Just keep wrapping it. And it's usually good to try to get it right on the first time, so you don't have to unwrap the wire. So you want to use your fingers and pressure the wire so that it stays completely thick and will not move. Because if it unwraps or is loose, then your cross can fall apart. And there's the bottom. Sometimes you might want to, like if you wanted to go all the way, you could just take a little extra wire and make the bottom part of the wire cross longer so that it goes all the way down. But you want it at least this length, and then you would stop at where the nail head starts to extend out. So as long as you have it anywhere from about here to here, anywhere in that, then it's good. Then you just take your wire that you started around before, and you just keep wrapping it around the free side. And try not to overlap it when you do the wire until you get to the very end, because if you have a little bit extra, and it looks kind of cool. So then you take your cross and you unclamp it, and then you just finish the side that had been clamped before, making sure that you still apply a lot of pressure while doing it so that the wire will not slip, because it's really frustrating when it slips right at the very end of the cross. Alright, then finally the last, just take, it depends, you might not have to do this, you might have to, depending on how you wrapped it. You take your wire cutters and just trim the pointy part off of the wire cross so that when you hold it, it does not stick you, because that hurts.
You can also smooth it down with flat nose pliers.
Yeah.
That's what I do after y'all get finished with them.
And then the X is the back, and ta-da! You got
Try that again.
you got your cross.
Yay!
Woo.